Yo, what's going on to all my family out there, my Facebook family as well. I'm going to be posting this, and also other individuals who, run into this video. I want to definitely give a shout out. And if you subscribe to the YouTube page, I'm definitely giving you a shout out and hope that you can learn from this or benefit from what I'm about to say in some type of way. Some people appreciate it, some people don't. I think a lot of times people, focus on the messenger and sometimes, not the message. You know what I mean? Some people, because of who the messenger is, what they have to say is popular. And sometimes a person can have a good message, but people are not interested in the messenger themselves. And so sometimes, a lot of folks don't take it to heart because they're highly focused on who the messenger is and the popularity of the messenger or whatever. But my thing is, it's about 6 o'clock in the morning. Y'all know, if anybody know me, they know I usually don't be up, man. But, I think I've gotten this from my mom. She says she has insomnia. I don't think I have insomnia. I just think that my sleep rhythm is off. My sleep rhythms are sleep patterns are off, or whatever the case. Cause like my roommate gets up like real early, so I sleep in the living room. So if he's getting up and waking up and cutting lights on, that kind of like what I mean, kind of interfere my flow a little bit. And plus, I'm a light sleeper anyway. So I figured while I'm up, I might as well make a video, especially if something is on my mind. And sometimes when I have these thoughts are kind of funny because, I still write music. Still write, rap lyrics, hip hop lyrics, music, poetry, whatever, however you want to put it. And even then, inspiration comes from anywhere. Like sometimes most of the songs that I've written, I mean, I'll be thinking about the lyrics like as I'm walking to work, or I could be brushing my teeth and thinking about something, or I could be watching a television show and two little lines that a person said inspire me to say something or write something. So that's just how it is. So sometimes I'll have thoughts, at any given time, and I say, man, let me go ahead and record it. And let me go ahead and say what I got to say while these things are fresh on my mind. So one of the things that a lot of people don't know, officially 2017 to make 10 years that I think professionally have been in the early childhood education field, dealing with children who are the ages of probably 6 months to 12 years old exclusively. You know what I mean? This is about going on 10 years. And you know what? What I've learned from dealing with or being in the childcare field is that I've learned the need to have endurance. You know what I mean? I've learned that in situations in life, like childcare to me is a metaphor for life. And I'm about to elaborate and break it down on why I'm saying it in this way. Because anybody that's in the childcare field or the education field, period, is going to understand what I'm saying. And the reason why I say childcare and my experiences in childcare is a metaphor for life. And one of the metaphors that I've learned from childcare is that you can't run. You can't run. You can't run. You have to develop endurance, and I've learned that in my time of dealing or being in a child care field, and the reason why I say this is I'm gonna say this. I'm a firm believer that God doesn't test you himself, but he will allow you to be tested and tempted. And with any test, if you don't develop the knowledge or skills to effectively pass the test, you'll keep on taking the test over. I remember growing up, we had the Maryland Functional Math Test, and we had the Maryland Functional Reading Test, and you had a citizenship test and all this stuff like that. Man, I failed the Maryland Functional Math Test all the way up into 12th grade. I finally passed it. Like, we started taking it in the 7th grade. Every year I would fail because I never developed the skills that, it would take, or the knowledge it would take, to pass certain things you need to pass, about the math test in order to complete it. And that's just what it is in life. Sometimes in life, when you keep running into the same situations, it's because you haven't developed the type of skills or the type of knowledge or the type of endurance to withstand that test or to go past it. And that's why you keep running into the same thing. You ever notice that? You ever notice in your life why you keep dealing with the same thing? It's because of that. You know what I'm saying? Like, even the Bible itself says that Christ learned obedience through suffering. You know what I mean? Because in life, there's some things that you cannot run from. In my life, Jehovah has done things. He has moved things out of my way. He's moved certain things out of my way. He's cleared my path in certain areas. And then in other areas, he's allowed certain things to stick. And it's probably because he's trying to help me develop qualities I need to endure and withstand certain things. Qualities that I need to refine areas in my personality. And that's why, me personally, I have my own thing that I keep enduring or keep, going through, because I probably haven't developed the skill sets to overcome those things. And I'm going to tell you like this, being in the child care field, I've learned that you cannot run. You have to learn endurance. You have to learn better ways of dealing with that situation, because it's not going to go anywhere. And I'm going to give you a story, and then I'm going to elaborate further. Okay, so one of the first, not the very first job, because if you really want me to tell the truth, I've been doing this since I was 16. In Baltimore, you have Youth Works, and that's like a program through the city where you could qualify to, as matter of fact, I ain't even gonna lie. I think you could be as young as, because I think I was like 14 or 15, but you could be young as 14 or 15 and qualify to be in Youth Works. And it's a program where you can actually have a summer job and get paid, like anybody else. So that's that. And so one of the times, I actually was a camp counselor, and as a camp counselor, I was basically a teacher's assistant, and dealing with children, coming up with ideas for recreation for them, snack, lunch, blah, 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 tutoring and all this other stuff. So I've been doing that. I did that when I was 16, and then 2004 when I came in Atlanta, I did pre-K and after school for a little while too, and still was doing dirt and doing some other stuff. But from 2007 is when I started going to school, going to Atlanta Technical College for early child education and care. And so that's why I mark 2007 to 2017 as an official 10 years. All right. So, but if you consider what I just told you, it's been even longer than that. So one thing I've learned from childcare is, like I said, in life, there's some things that you have to learn tolerance and endurance for. You can't run. So here's a crazy thing. So I was in a situation where there was this little girl. You always run into children like that. You run into children who have disciplinary problems. Some children will spit at you. Some children will throw stuff. Some children will lie on you. Some children won't listen. Some children will curse you out. And they can be as young as 3 doing all this. Some children will knock things over, throw chairs at you, bite you, all different type of things, man. The age of 3. Cursing, actually saying nasty, harsh curse words. You experience all these different things from ages like that all the way up to 12 years old, because in childcare, that's what we work with. So I remember one time at this particular center, I'm gonna name it nameless. It's gonna remain nameless. There was the room that we were in, the air conditioner wasn't working as well. So we had to move to another classroom. And that teacher stated that if you're going to be in my classroom, don't allow the kids to, go on the shelves and tear up. So I said, well, okay, well, let me go get the DVD player and put on a little movie, to occupy them, because it's too hot to go outside. This was, like I said, this was back in maybe 2011. You know what I mean? So we had this one little girl. She was on medicine, and she was just that type that she wanted to do what she wanted to do. If you corrected her, she would take her shoes off and throw them at you, just throw them out in the hallway, just all type of stuff. So this particular day, like I said, we moved from one room to another room, right? So everybody else is sitting down watching the DVD. That little girl is up. All right, so went over there to the little girl, led her by the hand, sat her down in the chair. She didn't want to be in the chair. You know what she did? I'm sitting on the floor with my kids. This little girl scoots her chair up. She kicks her shoes off, and she starts kicking me in the back of my head. Kicking me in the back of the head. I look back at her, and I scoot up. I scoot up in the front further to get away from her. The little girl scoots her chair up, in the back of my head again. So I take the little girl up front, because there was another teacher in there with me. Took the little girl up front, and I told my employer, I said, this little girl's kicking me in the back of the head. So my employer said something real slick, real smart, said, well, I mean, what am I supposed to do? It's two of y'all back there. And I said, you know what? You're right. It is two of us back there. So what I did is I brought the little girl back to the teacher that was in there, walked up front, clocked out for the day. Because I'm like, you're getting smart. You're the owner. You're not going to do anything about this behavior. The little girl can just kick me. I can't kick no children. So I come back the next day. The director was like, look, I'm about to leave. I'm about to go to another child care center. This particular manager, felt some kind of way about you yesterday. So, when I leave, I don't want her to treat you a certain way. Look, come to another daycare center with me. So I end up quitting, right? And going to this other child care center with this director who left the one I was at. Man, this situation was worse. And you want me to know, you want me to tell you what happened? I go to this other daycare or this other child care center thinking that initially I walked away from this temptation from this little girl. Do you know that when my director got up and left and went to this other child care center, do you know that the parent took that little girl out that daycare that me and the director left, and now she's in this new daycare that I'm in? So now I left one situation to go to another situation, and that little girl is at this daycare center now doing the same thing. And I'm telling y'all, I've experienced that. I've been in one daycare center, y'all, and I've went to a quote unquote more professional daycare thinking, this child care center is going to be more professional. You know what I mean? And you still deal with the same thing. I went to a corporate, what you call corporate, a child care center not owned by a particular person, but a child care center that's like under a corporation where you feel like it should be more structured. It should be less tolerant of children who are disobedient or who disrespect teachers or have certain behaviors. And you know what? I still ran into the same type of children who would throw things, parents who don't do anything to their children, parents who could be very difficult, very belligerent. You know what I'm saying? I've been in a situation. Matter of fact, there was two boys. I was at this professional child care center, this one ran by a corporation. 2 boys. One little boy was so bad, he slapped this little girl so hard that you could see the handprint on a little girl's face. Okay, so he's removed from that child care center. Years later, the boy was 4 years old. Years later, the boy is 9. I'm at the original child care center that I left in the first story. Guess who's there? The same little boy. Now he's 9 and he's doing the same stuff he was doing. So what I'm saying is that in life, y'all, you can't run. And that's one thing I learned about child care. For every child that gives you a difficult time and they might graduate and they might leave, there's always another child to replace that child. And you can't run. I got coworkers who, you know, they always talk about, and I can't blame my coworkers, y'all, because most of my coworkers have families. I don't have a family. And so they have to do whatever they have to do in order to make the type of money that would benefit their family. But I tell them, like, it don't matter where you go. I've been in this thing for almost 10 years. It don't matter how many degrees you get, how much more money they paying. You're going to always run into problems. You're going to always run into that child. You're going to have children that's going to make you feel like, you know what, they remind me of why I even got into this profession. And you're going to have children that's going to test you to the point of, you know what, I don't even know why I'm still here. So what I've learned from childcare is that in life, y'all, there are some things that you cannot run from. You have to learn tolerance. You have to develop the ability to overcome or effectively deal with it, because no matter what you do, there's always going to be something to challenge you. And that's what I learned. Even now, the new school year is starting August the 1st. This is Monday coming up. You don't know what type of children we're getting. And you better believe out of like some of these children, I know them. They have older siblings who are in my after school class. And now, their siblings are old enough to go to pre-K now. Like I might have children who were 8, 7 years old. And at the time their, little brother and sister were like 2, and now they're old enough to go to pre-K. And, now so I know some of them, and then I'm getting a whole new bunch. And out of that whole new bunch, don't you think that it's going to be children in there that's going to test me? That's going to be disrespectful. That's not going to listen. So what I'm telling you guys, the message is that when you keep going through the same thing, it may be because you have not learned or developed the qualities in order to overcome and endure. So in life, just learn endurance. Just pray, stick with it, don't give up, and know that you cannot always run from everything. Pray for endurance. Don't pray that the hard situation leaves you. Pray for endurance. Okay? One love.